It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
It's Sunday morning, and it's time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes of your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show. This is Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated. This morning's team includes car freaks, know-it-alls, and opinionated individuals. And, of course, we're always stacked with those opinionated individuals. Brad is here, and Sean is here. Have you had a good January so far, boys?
I've had a glorious January. I've had a couple of weeks off, thank you, doing some family things, work things. So I'm back ready to go. I've got lots of opinions.
You do? Well, we've never been short of opinions with you, Brad. Sean, how's your January so far?
My January is awesome, and I'm very opinionated.
Wait, you celebrated a birthday, didn't you?
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
How old are you?
36.
I've got suits that old.
Dude, it's over.
I bet you got lint in those suits that old.
Probably. They don't fit, but I've got them.
All right, let's talk about some cars that we've been driving this morning. Of course, we get test vehicles to tell you how good they are, and so you're ready to rock when you go to the dealership. You're well armed, and you have all the information that you need. I have been driving the Kia Soul Electric, and not a fan of electric cars for my lifestyle. I love the idea of how they work. I love the fact that you pay so much less for fuel. You can get like 100 miles a gallon in some of these vehicles or over. You can charge them overnight, but always been troubled by the range. There's this range anxiety thing that goes on. So I've been more in favor of electric plug-in hybrids where you can have the full range and you can do a short amount of distance on electricity alone. But entirely surprised at the Kia Soul Electric. It's very much like its gasoline counterpart. It's a little funky in style. They chose some interesting colors, this sort of Caribbean blue on the outside. Although I have to tell you, I kind of like it. It has a white roof, and it's really very much similar to the regular Kia Soul. That's the first thing that's great about it. I hate to drive an electric car that tells everybody around me, hey, look, he's driving an electric car. The second up is it seems a bit sluggish compared to a regular electric, even compared to it, but it drives just like a regular Kia Soul. It has a clean, user-friendly cabin, user-friendly controls. It's easy to understand, easy to recharge. The charging port is right in the front. Useful cargo area and enough range really to help me on my daily errands. Now, the range is somewhere between 80 and 90, and they tell me that this is the best in class for range of a pure electric vehicle.
That much range that gets you substantially more than that 60.
Right.
I mean,
so
that's
if I go,
obvious, but
right, if
that's
I go to
enough
work and
to
back,
go somewhere.
if I go to work and back twice in a day, so I'll go downtown, then come back, then go downtown again, then come back, like home for lunch. It has enough charge for the day. Whereas a lot of them don't. A lot of the electric cars, I can't do that. It's about 15, 16 miles for me, and so if you only do 60 miles, you do 50 miles on range, and it doesn't work. Have the air conditioning, the stereo on, or the heating on, it diminishes that amount of distance you can travel. The best part about this Kia Soul Electric is, with about 80, 90 miles of distance out of it, don't have any of those problems. Can actually do it and still have heat, which I like to have when it's,
28 degrees.
Below freezing. 109 horsepower equivalent, 92-mile range is what they say. I was getting mid-80s. Its competition is the Golf EV, the Fiat 500e, the Chevy Spark EV, and it'll cost you about $33,000, $34,000. I would say for an electric vehicle, 10 out of 10. Also been test driving the Infiniti Q60. I didn't like this car just by looking at it and reading about it, but I actually really like it a lot. And the QX60, by the way, I really like it a lot. It's a small SUV. It's very roomy. It's family-oriented, 7 passengers, a luxury crossover from them, ample passenger room. All 3 rows are comfortable. It's smooth. It's quiet. It has a really nice interior design and user-friendly electronic interfaces. It feels a little sluggish, and I did have the V6 version, which is not too bad, but I understand from a lot of people that have driven the 4-cylinder supercharged that until that supercharger kicks in, it's not that exciting. It does come in a hybrid version, so there is a green option, and it has great fuel economy, so you can get 2 different versions. You can get the V6 or the 4-cylinder with a supercharger. It does come in an all-wheel drive version if you want that. I will tell, and a hybrid as well. 265 horsepower for the V6, It does have that CVT transmission, which can be difficult to deal with some people, although Nissan is one of the best companies that do the CVTs, which is obviously part of the Infinity Group. 28 miles a gallon is the best you're going to get. It's competition, the Q5, Mercedes ML, BMW X5, Acura MDX, which are all strong cars in that category. I would say as far as the tech is concerned, the best thing that Infinity offer is their connection convenience concierge service. So you can do things like sync your calendar to the car, schedule a meeting from the car, and then make that meeting your next destination or put it in your saved destinations. And also you can press a button there and talk to somebody live, and they will book concert tickets for you. They will book hotels for you. They will answer questions. So the best question is having people in the car having an argument about whether cheerleading was a sport or not. Press the button, the concierge comes on and says, yes, cheerleading actually is legally a sport. So those sort of questions they can answer. It's basically someone at the other end, I'm sure, just with Google. But ultimately, they have somebody there that can help you if you have questions, if you have needs, you can book stuff. So it's really like
That's
our
awesome.
own. Sean, what have you been driving?
I've been driving the 2015 Kia K900, and this is my favorite car. And if I actually won Powerball, I decided I would go buy this car as my daily driver.
No, wait. So what kind of car is it? To explain where it fits.
Sorry about that. It is a full luxury sedan, which is basically competing with the Mercedes S-Class, BMW 7 Series, Audi A8, and pretty much fully loaded is around $66,000, where those ones start around $95,000, $100,000. So it's competing with them about $40,000 less.
Now, does it really compete with them?
I believe so. Like, I mean, driving some of those and this one, like I said, I would go buy it as a daily driver. Or I took my vet out to Cars and Coffee, and I was actually sad because I really wanted to take the K900 instead of the vet, and was almost disappointed driving my vet over the K900. That's how well this vehicle is.
So we had the perfect example of what Kia's fighting with this car. Driving a gentleman for Lucky Limousine, and we were talking about getting new vehicles to talk to him about the K900. He goes, I know it's a great car, but I don't want somebody picking me up in a Kia.
Yeah, they battle that quite a lot, except that their quality, their resale value, and the brand are just through the roof. And I think they're better off choosing customers that would buy it rather than trying to attract customers from BMW, trying to upscale the Optima customers into this, or one of their other cars, trying to push them up into this rather than pull people from other brands.
But they're doing a great thing with their marketing. Like, first they came out with Morpheus and the whole choosing luxury and it's been pulled over your eyes. And now they're doing the whole LeBron James and Fit for a King. Price, the one I was driving was $66,400. And like I said, it's every option, even rear heated, cool seats and massage features in the back seat for people.
All right, Brad, what have you been driving?
I got the chance to finally drive an Audi, the new A3 2015, which they've completely redone for 2015 as a sedan rather than a hatchback. And it competes in the luxury small sedan market, which is expected over the next few years to grow like 400%. And it's small. There's no two ways about it. The trunk is small, the back seat is small.
Out of the entire crew here, you are the tallest and the biggest guy shoulders-wise.
Clearly. But this competes with the
and
CLA.
the oldest guy. Sorry, I missed that.
There we go.
You're right.
The CLA and the 2, this is a full 6 inches or more shorter than those vehicles. Now, I haven't had a chance to drive those, but the real luxury on this car is the inside, the fit and finish. The quality is all Audi and everything that you would expect, and it's all about the torque. But with the TDI engine, it is so fun to drive. On the low end, it's not my favorite, but man, through the curves and everything else, it is such a fun car to drive, and it's distinctive. But at a price with the 2.0 that I drove, it was full $39,000. So that's a lot to think about when you're looking at all the other options. You can't look at these in a vacuum. You have to look at them.
I would tell you that on the inside, it's the best in the class. On the outside, I prefer the CLA. The looks of the Audi are a little bit more, but it's an amazing car.
Yeah, it was everything you'd wanted on the inside for sure.
Did you know you have the little screen that came up out of the dash?
I like that.
Yeah. It's 13 millimeters thick. NVIDIA make the card in it, so it's the same as a computer. It's like really super fast screen, super high graphics. I love the idea of not having to have the screen up if you don't want it up.
That was really handy because I did put it down a few different times. It was when I was really just driving. I didn't need information.
Right. All right. So how much should we get out of 10, and how much do I have to pay for this thing?
The one I drove was 39. It goes from 30 to 39. I give it about an 8. It was just a little too small for what I would do. There were too many other options for me that are a little bit bigger that satisfied my needs.
Excellent. Well, you're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Portland Auto Show. That's going to hit town in just a couple of weeks. And also, we'll check out some of the new cars that were introduced at the North American International Auto Show. That's when Test Miles returns. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. Has your driveway been good to you this year? Well, the Portland Auto Show is offering tickets to the show February the 5th through the 8th, 2015, as a very nice present you could buy for somebody. You just go to portlandautoshow.com, and don't forget, we'll be at the show throughout its entirety to entertain you on the radio, but also at the same time be walking around the show and doing fun stuff. All right, here's a fun fact you can impress your friends with. The Subaru WRX is amongst America's most ticketed cars. A study by Insurance.com found that 1/3 of WRX owners report receiving a ticket recently. Not surprising when you have a fast, very young,
Because they're so fun
flashy
to
car.
drive.
All right, let's talk about the Portland Auto Show, which is coming the 5th through the 8th. We'll be there on the Sunday, the 8th, doing our entire show, and some of the other days as well. It'll be fun. And this year there'll be no snow, because I've already talked to the people that make snow, and they're off that day. What is going to be at the show? Well, some interesting news to come out of the Portland Auto Show. The world's fastest motorcycle will be at the show at the Motorcycle Pavilion, the Triumph Rocket. It will be there, which is an interesting concept because when we talk about the auto show, we usually mean autos, things that have 4 wheels, maybe 3 at a stretch, but mostly 4 wheels. We don't think about the 2 wheels there, and there are a lot of 2-wheel fans in Portland, right?
Not me. I'm too.
There is.
I'm too nervous.
Sean got a motorcycle.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a motorcycle.
Oh, you
I
got
have
a
my
license, didn't you?
endorsement. My significant other will not let me get a bike.
Didn't her son have a motorcycle which
And
you
it's
weren't allowed
just
to ride?
sitting there collecting dust. Like I've even tried to get on it, and she will flip out.
All right, some other really big news from the show. Porsche is back after an absence of 3 years. They will have a full complement of cars, including some plug-ins in the Clean Tech Center. When we don't really think about Porsche a lot as a big Portland brand, but they do have a dealership here, and it is kind of one of the favorite sports cars of people. And fun cars for around $60,000, right?
Yeah, it was my first job in the industry. I worked for Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi back when it was a combined effort. So it's close to my heart.
The VW Bug was the first car you worked on, wasn't it?
It was
1940 something, yeah.
Yeah, when I was back in Munich.
The big brand, of course, Porsche around the country, and their go-to people, but they seem to have not been at the show for 3 years. Kind of excited to see some Porsches there. Of course, they will get and now I had a conversation with the guys at Porsche once. If you can't say Porsche. And if
Which
someone
a
says,
lot of people do.
if
and
you say
it's
Porsche,
just
you're in
ignorant.
trouble. And the guy had a great way of putting it to me. He said, by the way, Porsche is something you sit on and watch the sunset. Porsche is something you drive and be exhilarated about, which is a good point. Also, going to be there is in the race garage is the OSU and the PSU Formula Car race teams. They will be on site as well as the activity arena will have the Blazer mini camps on Sunday, Family Day. Are you going to be going down on Sunday? Your family usually comes in after the radio show, don't they?
And they run roughshod all over everything, yes.
They do. How old are your twins now?
They're 6.
Do you still have leashes for them?
No, I just let them go now.
You do.
And then
let everyone
they
else
find
worry
their
about
way
it.
back, unfortunately.
Here's $50. Daddy's leaving in 10 minutes if you don't find me.
That's what I do at Lucky. I say, hey, do you have any late night runs? I just need to be home by 8:30, and they say, why? I said, because that's when they're asleep.
You are. Does your wife listen to this show?
No, of course
Because
not.
that couch is looking more and more comfortable, isn't it? What else is going to be at the show? We're going to see a new Hyundai 1,000 horsepower Genesis going to be on show in their simulators. I didn't even know they had a 1,000 horsepower Genesis.
That's crazy. I didn't either. But is it the coupe or the 4-door?
It doesn't say. the information I have, and this is secret insider information, by the way. They don't have it. I did also find out that the new 2016 F-150 and the 2000, I guess it would be 15 F-150, and the 2016 Ford Explorer are going to be at the show, which is kind of cool, right?
Nice. Yeah, well, the 15 was there last year, but no one unfortunately got to see it, but they'll get to this year.
Right, and the Explorer is kind of cool, the new Explorer.
Are they going to have the new, I mean, it's not new now, but the Mustang?
Yeah, no, the Mustang was there last year. It'll be there.
It was,
again
but
this year.
again, like Sean said, nobody really got a chance
Right,
to see it.
and
so.
actually the convertible version will be there as well. A lot of cars that you were introduced in Detroit, and we'll talk about this in the next segment of the show. We'll talk a little bit about it. All right, what else is going to be at the show? The Dub show is now being opened, and it will have the Monster Energy Truck Semi in there. So we're going to make sure Brad's kids get to visit that first of all and get a can of Monster each. In the Motorcycle Pavilion, there will be the Slingshot, the three-wheeler vehicle, which... it's kind of fun. If I'm going to ride a motorcycle, I want it to have at least more than two wheels because I can't be trusted on.
That's a trike, not a motorcycle.
Well, I think if the two wheels are in the front, it's still a motorcycle. It has to have two wheels in the back to be a trike. But in the front, if it has two wheels, it's still considered a motorcycle. And, of course, the Clean Tech Center. Now, this is important for the Portlanders because this is where they put all of the clean tech vehicles, which is usually electric, plug-in electric type vehicles. And the Porsche Panamera is going to be there, which is actually the SE Hybrid, one of my favorite cars from Porsche. I think they start at like $205,000, which is a little scary. So, you know, it's too much money for me. But really beautifully put together. 4 seats, sort of limo-style Porsche. And, of course, then you get this like 20-odd miles on electricity alone. So as well as, you know, being eco-friendly, I can ride in style.
So you can drive it over on Hawthorne.
Yes.
That's a car that it's taken a while to grow on me because when I first saw it, I mean, everywhere except from the back, it was a beautiful car. And then it just kind of had this hatchback. But over the years, it's really grown to me. And I think it's a beautiful car now. Just at first, I didn't really like it.
All right, there's a couple of other things I want to talk about quickly. Don't forget the sneak peek at the Portland International Auto Show. That happens on the Wednesday evening. You can go and see all the cars up close and personal. I think the tickets are $100. You can get them from portlandautoshow.com. And the idea is you get food, you get open bar, you get all the food you can eat, and you get to walk around the cars. You can't touch them if you have greasy fingers, but you can actually get inside.
They got people to clean them. You can touch.
No, I don't want greasy prints on my leather. You can't get grease. You can't get chicken grease out of leather. Oh, you might in your car, but you can't in mine.
Not in my car. There is no food whatsoever in my car.
Wait, isn't all those cups in the back seat on the floor?
No.
And
those are empty water bottles. Water's fine.
All right, I'm beginning to get fairy stories here. All right, you're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. When we come back, we'll talk about the cars that were at the Detroit International Auto Show or the North American International Auto Show. Some amazing cars unveiled, and we'll even get to talk about that new Ford GT. This is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to KXL. Now, we have all the latest information here about cars and also fun facts that you can impress your friends with. A study by the American University found that Toyota Camry and Honda Accord contain more domestic content than America's Chevrolet Camaro. Can you believe that? The Camaro has 68% U.S. content, whereas Accord has 76%, and Camry has 78.5% American content. I find that very topsy-turvy in my world of thinking about things.
I think it's funny because every time you talk to people and you tell them something about that, they're like, I want an American car. Older people, because a lot of people don't realize that. Right. They still want that American brand, and it's Japanese cars now. Those are built here in...
Tires, transmissions, a lot of those things come from abroad. All right. So yesterday, is the opening to the public of the North American International Auto Show. This is America's big auto show in Detroit. This is where most of the American and some big non-American vehicles get shown for the first time. And I was lucky enough to experience that, to be on set for multiple TV stations from Seattle to New York, doing segments on it. And one of the big attractions at the show is concepts. Now, I get bugged with concepts a lot of times because people used to introduce great concepts. They would never build the cars. Now car companies have kind of got wise to that, so they do build these concepts, but they actually have the final car built, and then they show the concept which is taken from the final car. So they kind of do backwards engineering there. It's kind of cheating, but at least it gives us a taste of what's to come. Now, Infiniti have their Q60 concept, which was introduced. This is a precursor to a high-performance sports car, sports sedan. It's a 2+2 carbon fiber door accents, 3-liter V6 twin-turbo engine, kind of cool. It does have cameras for the mirrors, and it also doesn't have door handles, which will have to change because legally you have to have both on in the new car. But some inside information, stuff I'm absolutely not supposed to release to you. The car is coming, and it's almost identical to the concept. And I've heard 18 months away. They've got some production issues they have to change. But really, the car is identical apart from the mirrors and the door handles, which I'm excited about because this company, Infiniti, recently relocated to Hong Kong out of Japan 2 years ago. Now they're a Chinese car company, which is kind of interesting. Their head office is in Hong Kong. They have a lot of intuitive things that are put on their Infiniti cars that a lot of other people aren't doing, like the adaptive steering, which is basically drive-by-wire. You can feel as much as you want to on the steering wheel. It's faster than the drive-by-wire. And the great thing about that is if you hit a pothole, the car won't respond as vigorously in the steering wheel. It's kind of a little bump. Oh, I hit something. I guess you could see that as a good or a bad thing.
Well, that's going to be handy here in Portland because they're not going to pass the street fee. Thanks. So
Yes.
we're going to have a lot of potholes.
A lot of new potholes. And it also has this sort of human-centric system where you can really have the car interact with you. The car is built around you as the human being, so the car interacts with you, whereas a lot of people put speedos and tachometers in that are there for information, but a lot of the stuff on the inside of the car interacts personally with you. You can choose your driving style. It has a very, very high-tech interior look for it, and it also has the lights in the front and the back. I noticed very much in this vehicle. They look like human eyes with eyelashes. They kind of did a really kind of cool, it looks a little female to me. Also introduced at the show is the Chevy Bolt, was the Chevy Bolt. This Bolt is not to be confused with Volt, V-O-L-T. The Bolt is B-O-L-T. And I have to tell you, it looks very much like a i3 from BMW. Chevy is saying this is a version of an affordable, long-range electric vehicle. It'll do 200 miles on a single charge. It'll cost around $30,000. Chevy saying their future is also going to be an electric. They have the Spark, they have the Volt, but they're saying they're really investing in pure electric energy, designed for all 50 states, not just the West Coast states or the left-hand states, and for a global market, made of aluminum, magnesium, and carbon fiber, which is interesting. I've never seen a car made of magnesium so far, and it won't have a car key for it. You will have to use your key, your phone, your smartphone, to get in and out of the car, which is kind of interesting because I think a lot of times now cars are not going to be applicable unless you use your smartphone with them.
So my little flip phone is not going to work with it?
No. Yeah, you're out of luck, buddy. Sorry, no Chevy Bolt for you if it comes to market. Hyundai surprised everybody with their new Santa Cruz, which is an all-wheel drive truck. It's really built for millennials, built for urban adventurers, a crossover truck for really expandable utility. The back end expands, the truck bed slides out to get longer. It will fit a motorbike at the longest portion. Has these interesting hexagonal grills up front, lens-free honeycombed lighting.
So this is the Subaru Baja that I saw pictured?
The Baja, or
I'd say more Honda Ridge because Baja was tiny. This is going to be...
Yeah, I mean, it is truck. It is lifted.
Yeah.
Where the Baja was down there. But it's a mixture of the two, I would say.
I liked it. I thought it looked sexy.
It looked good.
LED fog lights, oversized wheels, yellow Brembo brakes, which I thought was kind of a nice touch. Clamshell doors, so you can get kids in the back or people in the back. It's really the back is made for ski gear, for wet gear. If you go to the beach, if you go skiing, if you go and do activities, you can throw it in the back. That's the idea of it. And it'll have a 2-liter diesel in it, 190 horsepower, and it'll get up to 30 miles a gallon. I think that's kind of all-wheel
Has
drive as well.
Hyundai ever done diesel? I mean, they
Not
probably have.
in the U.S.
Yeah,
not in the U.S.
out of the States, but...
More people have been designing diesel for the U.S. and it's taken years to get here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And
About time.
And one of the nicest cars I thought was there. It's called the Avenir. It's a Buick concept. A lot of people making jokes it's the new Buick Park Avenue, but it's huge. This thing is longer than an Escalade. But it's a giant limo-style Buick. It was just concept, so maybe they'll never build it. But it has a V6 engine in it, which they're saying they'll be the next generation of engines. 9-speed automatic transmission, paddle shifters, that really long body, and then a 12-inch touchscreen on the inside, of course, with their 4G LTE. It was inspired by the sea and the waves, which I think is kind of an interesting. The color was absolutely outstanding. So lots of concepts on there. Did you get a look at any of them, Sean, online?
I did the Buick and the Hyundai. I mean, I looked at everything. I was on the websites all the time and looking at everything. But that Buick, it's crazy that they're actually bringing it out with a V6. Usually with the concepts, especially a bigger one like that, you'd expect a V8.
I think this will be what will replace what's the biggest one they make, the Cross now?
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's the biggest one that they make currently.
This is long or longer than an S-Class?
No, Escalade.
An Escalade. It's longer than an Escalade, so I'm saying the same size as an S-Class.
Yeah.
We're talking about limo-style car for you, Brad.
Good.
Yes, you should be interested because the limo community will be wanting one.
We are.
So that's what I'm saying, though. It's like usually with a bigger car, they would come out with a V8, so it's shocking that they're doing a V6.
I think a lot of people doing turbochargers, a lot of people doing highly charged vehicles now because they know that that's what people want.
Well, I mean, you get good fuel economy out of them, but
as long as we're getting enough torque out of it, you really don't care.
And I still don't have a list of concepts. We'll probably try and get this for next week's show, but I don't have a list of concepts that are going to be at the Portland show. But they usually have some cool concepts. I remember the Chrysler Imperial, which was there, and that Subaru one that had the TV that came out of the roof. There were some kind of cool ideas, but no, not Subaru. It was Suzuki, who don't exist anymore in the U.S. But that was a kind of fun thing.
I remember a few years ago they had that 4-door Vet-looking concept there. I can't remember what it was called, but it was just like a 4-door Corvette.
Vet people scream heresy as soon as you do anything to those cars.
I know.
How dare you? The Vet truck. Oh my God! People just wanted to kill each other when they saw that.
Well, I think the theory that these are getting to market much quicker and actually to market, because I think there were a lot of buyers who were upset they'd see a concept and then the actual car would come and there was nothing like the concept.
No, and that's what we were saying. Now what they do is they sort of. I know this for a fact with Subaru when they introduced their original WRX. The concept was built off of the final car because they already had the final car when they unveiled the concept. So much secrecy, by the way, around these car things. Usually I know 2 or 3 days in advance of a show when something's going to be announced. I have an embargo on it. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I get the video, I get the script. Because we have to do live TV that morning, I can't just suddenly write a script when something is revealed. It takes time. So we have a background, we have information, those things. At this particular show, Ford stummed everybody. They were absolutely, no, we're not talking about it. Nobody's going to get any information. We walked in the Ford booth and discovered the GT. All the old GTs are there, so we kind of worked out it was coming, but we didn't know until that morning. When we come back, we'll talk about that GT and some of the other cars that we saw at the North American International Auto Show. You're listening to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles. You're listening to Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. We'd like to keep you informed all week long, so just follow us on Twitter at Test Miles or go to our website, testmiles.com. Here's a fun fact you can impress your friends with. Plymouth spent over $10,000 developing a horn for their 1968 Roadrunner so it could sound like the namesake cartoon character. Meep, meep. Let's talk about some of the other cars that we saw at the Detroit International Auto Show. First of all, the winner of the car of the year was the Golf. It beat the Mustang by only 10 votes. That's one person. One person's vote. So it was split down to one person's vote. And the truck of the year was the F-150, which was a surprise too. I think the Colorado could have won too. But I'm surprised the Mustang didn't win. I was pegging the Mustang and the Golf was my number 2.
Was the Genesis just too
Genesis,
normal?
apparently, it was way down the pack, so it was between those.
So it was one of those, it was just nice to be nominated things.
Absolutely, and there are a few like that. At the show, we also saw the Jaguar XE. It's the all-aluminum vehicle, first time in the U.S., an entry-level car for them. I think it's going to do well. One of the things I like about it is it recognizes traffic signs. Buick showed off a new Cascada, which is basically the same size as the Verano, but is a convertible, a 2+2. It'll have turbo and things like Siri, and of course, the top comes up and down in 17 seconds, up to 31 miles an hour.
That car looks nice.
It kind of does. Range Rover introduced diesel, which will also, by the way, come on the XE. There was a new Chevy Volt, 10% more efficient, do a 50 miles on electric alone, and it'll also do 400 miles total range, which is kind of cool. Hyundai showed a new Sonata PHEV, a plug-in hybrid Sonata, 22 miles, which is a class-leading range on electric. 80% of commuters in the U.S. only travel 25 miles or under in their commute. It'll charge in 2.5 hours on level 2. And it's their first PHEV for Hyundai, 93 miles a gallon on MPGe, which I thought was kind of cool. All right, let's talk about what everyone wants to talk about is the really cool cars of the show, the supercars. Alfa Romeo 4C Spider. We knew the 4C is here. It's an incredible car, gets loads of attention, really good power-to-weight ratio, turbocharged aluminum engine, handcrafted in Modena, Italy. Of course, the outside was made by the Maserati crew. The inside is the Alfa Romeo crew for engine-wise, and very aerodynamic vehicle.
Now, is that an actual convertible, or is it kind of just like a hardtop? Well, a removable hardtop.
No, it's a Spider, which means I think a removable hardtop. But it comes down that the back of the seats is where the back of the car starts. Really.
Okay.
That way. The fastest Cadillac ever in their history, or the most powerful Cadillac, I should say, not the fastest. 112 years they've had Cadillacs around, 640 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, an 8-speed transmission. This is the new Cadillac CTS-V. It'll do 200 miles an hour with that new 6.2-liter V8 supercharged engine. Do we need it?
Yes.
Yes, we say. It'll also have these interesting front cameras, so you don't crush the front fascia when you park it, and it'll do park assist.
That's a nice theory.
You're talking about a CTS-V that parks itself, by the way.
That car was awesome. I can't wait to see it.
It looks much like a regular Cadillac, but it's just all the power.
Well, it has some race features, too.
It does. It does have good fascia. The Ford GT350R Mustang. So here we go. Another version of the Shelby. This is the race version. No air conditioning was the big thing by most people getting upset about it. Made for the track, purely made for the track with a V8 engine, whereas the V6 is what most people are going to put in the Mustang. It's going to have anti-roll bars, 8-inch touchscreen. They're saying this will actually come to market late 2015. Faster, lighter. Do we need to be going that fast though? In these, I mean, I thought
on the track, absolutely.
Yeah, but. All right. And, of course, the biggest news of the show is that new Ford GT. We kind of worked out it was coming. All-new 600-horsepower ultralight performance vehicle, a V6 twin turbos, EcoBoost engine, carbon fiber, rear-wheel drive, mid-engine, and it will be here in 2016. This just blew everyone away.
It had a lot of heritage to the old GT, it looked like in the pictures.
It did,
and newer looking with sharper edges. I liked it. I think it's the best looking one.
The best line of the show, and this is completely unfair, but the best line of the show was, you know, the only thing wrong with the new Acura NSX is the GT. which is, I thought was the funniest line I've heard ever, but it's not very fair to the NUS NSX, which the final version was unveiled at the show.
And that looks so much better than the old one.
Absolutely, but the GT just stole the show. I mean, it just stole the show. Ford hit it out of the park. They had the new Raptor there. They had the GTR, the GT350R, and this new GT. They stole the show.
All I got on my
period.
Facebook page were Oregon Duck shots and Ford GT pictures.
It was
all Monday.
Absolutely unbelievable. All right, we'd like to remind you that the Portland International Auto Show is coming up. If you want to see some of the cars that are going to hit showrooms in the next year and all of the cars in the showrooms in one place, go to portlandautoshow.com. You can get your tickets there ahead of time, get them a little bit cheaper, the February 5th through the 8th, and we'll have more about that. And don't forget the sneak peek party on the night before the show opens, where you can eat, drink, and sit in all those fabulous cars. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us. Love us all at testmiles.com.